Hola, soy María. This is my city. Madrid is the political and economic capital of Spain, and it is home to over 5 million people. Our country has changed dramatically in the last 40 years.
Spain's a different country, completely different country. Everything that you see now is a miracle for those who lived 30 years ago. Politics, family, society, youth.
And people, like I would say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they just stopped asking questions. But they do want to know because they don't know what to believe. They haven't been asking questions in the last years. They don't have a reference, something to believe in.
Madrid, Spain is a modern city where Christianity plays a diminishing role in the life of a typical citizen. In the midst of this, Mission to the World seeks to bring renewal through pioneering church planting, serving this city marked by change.
Spain is one of the countries that has changed most in the world because we have gone from a very harsh dictatorship and we have now become a democracy.
First thing that we should say is Spain is a different country 30 years ago from now. First of all, democracy. It's quite recent in Spain. So I was born in 1973 under a dictatorship, and that's a big change. And the country has changed so much that it's barely not recognizable anymore. It's changed in politics, it's changed in culture, it's changed in openness, and that's also changed the way people think, the way people react, and the way people behave.
We've gone from a dictatorship where there was respect for parents and their authority all the way to there being no respect for authority at the home nor in school. Today there's almost no respect for teachers or parents. With respect to our values, we are coming to a very low point. We are becoming very materialistic.
In the midst of this radical change, Spain has moved from a traditional Catholic society to a modern secular society where Christianity now has little influence. Most Spaniards under 40 will have never heard the gospel in their entire lives.
In Spain, there is a great spiritual emptiness. I think it comes from the Catholic Church imposing itself on us. But in our new freedom, we have chosen exactly the opposite.
Well, Spaniards' relationship with church and with religion is really tricky because we like 30, 40 years ago, we have here a dictatorship, and Catholic Church, which was the main church, was supporting it. So right now people identifies church. It doesn't matter if it's Catholic or whatever, but they identify church, and through church they identify God with dictatorships.
Well, my children were baptized and also had their first communion service because, well, what would people say if they didn't? However, my youngest son still hasn't done his first communion.
About the subject of God, well, I think it's very clear to me that God doesn't exist. I know God is something you can't be certain about. More or less everyone in the world believes something, and I think God doesn't exist. Because for me, God is just an excuse that has been used throughout history to keep people in submission.
I think the church, any church, Protestant or Catholic, is not addressing well the needs of Spain. Since the church or the Christian message has not reached my students, in the sense that it's not changing my students' lives right now, I would say it's secularism, it's nihilism, which means a culture of everything's good, everything's fine, but there's no real meaning behind anything.
Yo recuerdo que empecé a creer en Dios a los 40 años.
I remember that I started believing in God when I was 40 years old. A time came when I just said, it can't be just work your whole life to have this or that. And for what?
And when I met Jesus, everything changed. I felt the real freedom in my heart and the happiness and love I needed that no human could give me, only God.
Well, my main advice would be you need to spend time with people. You need to invest in people. And it takes a while until you really get to know people so they're prepared to hear about the message. It's a very, very difficult door to open. But once you do, people are quite happy to have a different perspective on religion.
People need friends. People need someone that wants to hear your heart. People need people that stay near to you and say, how are you doing today? What are you doing? I'm here to help you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to stay with you in your storms, in your problems. They want a life church, a church that do things. For example, you can go to the church on Sunday morning, and after that, you can stay in your church and eat with the rest of the people, have lunch with them, speak with them, go to play a soccer game, or go to watch a movie.
Spain is at a critical juncture in its history. The old ways and traditions are being left behind, and new doors of opportunity are opening every day. A new generation is asking questions that previous generations took for granted. God has called us to live among Spaniards and reach out to them, share the good news with them, and start gospel-centered churches amongst them. We also form strategic partnerships with Spanish nationals, helping them bring the good news to their people, and form new churches which will reproduce themselves across Madrid. We are aggressively seeking innovative, non-traditional ways to reach Spain with the gospel. We seek to integrate ourselves into Spanish ways of life, befriend Spaniards, share the love of Christ with them, and invite them to participate in the community of faith, the church. Join us in praying that the Spirit of God will move powerfully in Madrid, bringing renewal and hope to the Spanish people.